Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Klaus.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, yeah, excited for the quick rounds.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It is a different format today because it's a sort of quick round of questions. So some of them will be like yes or no. First and foremost, how long have you been vegan for?
4.5 years.
4.5 years, and
Yeah.
what motivated you to make that change?
So I was veggie for 8 months beforehand. I came across a story about a truck carrying 6,000 chickens crashing on the way to a slaughterhouse, and felt like a hypocrite because I loved KFC, but was feeling sorry for these chickens. So I went vegetarian, then I saw the documentary Earthlings, realised that what we do to animals is so huge and has, kind of permeated in so many aspects of our life that going vegan was the only thing I could do to actually take a stand against animal suffering.
Mm-hmm. What's your favourite, broccoli or kale?
Broccoli.
And is it wrong to eat animal-shaped spaghetti?
No, I think it's fine.
So you said 4.5 years you've been vegan,
Yeah.
right? How long have you had Earthling Ed, the online platform, for?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Texting or talking? What's your favourite?
Talking.
And do you and your partner, do you guys have any support workers, or are you guys just a two-person show?
Yeah, we do most of the stuff ourselves, but we have people that help with different aspects, the administrative work, the creative work. So there's a team of us, but we do the bulk of the work, the two of us.
One thing I wanted to ask, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know, is like they've obviously probably, if they're watching this, they might have seen some of your street or TV interviews. Do you ever feel like you've ever got unstuck by any particular question or angle or thing people say?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the majority of people are going to say the same thing over and over again, so you kind of get used to that. And as long as you have a good enough understanding of different aspects like environment, vivisection, health, then you're normally okay. So as far as I'm aware, I've never really particularly been unstuck. I've had difficult conversations where someone's been saying something to me. Like the other day I had a conversation, or a couple of months ago it was, where someone was saying, rising sea levels, like tell me what 10-foot rising sea levels. And I kind of like stuttered a little bit and was like, damn, like I need to be a bit more on top of that kind of thing. So
so in that situation, you kind of wanted to know a few more facts about the relationship between like ice melting and the sea.
Exactly.
But of course you can't know it all, right?
No, and I was like, jet streams and like, kind of weather imbalances and all this. So like
part of you then was a little bit uncertain.
a little bit.
Interesting.
So it happens. And I think the point is then you go home, you look at, what's the argument that's been said, you go home, you research it, and then next time you'll be fully prepared.
How do you navigate really controversial topics like antinatalism?
That's a good question. I mean, I've never really had much antinatalism put upon me, so I've never really had to deal with InfoWars. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think you've kind of got to circumnavigate in a way that hopefully, I think you've got to know your audience, right? So who are you talking to? Who's watching the video? What are they going to respond to? So like in that InfoWars environment, I knew, well, I'm appealing to, kind of far right people that are probably not like people that I'd like to associate myself with too much. But my response has got to be something that they're going to resonate with. So in terms of antinatalism, I think you've got to, or kind of an issue like that, it's important to try and strike a balance between staying true to what you believe, but also trying to provide a little bit of understanding to the opposing opinion. So something that's controversial, I think, we get it with like words like Holocaust, and slavery, comparisons like that. I think it's not just about how you feel, it's about how you feel is going to come across the person you're talking to, and making sure that you're diplomatic in a way that ensures that you don't strike any kind of controversial animosity with the person you're talking to. So it's situation dependent, I think, but I think be understanding, but also don't deny how you actually feel, which sounds complicated, doesn't it?
No, it's a good answer.
Yeah.
Moving on, I want to talk about your restaurant. How long have you had it for?
Since September last week of September.
And what's your favourite dish, crucially?
Toe fish and chips, all day long.
Yeah, I haven't had that one. I need to try it.
Toe fish and chips.
And generally, what's your favourite vegan junk food?
Beyond Meat Burger, probably.
Oh, because the next question was going to be Beyond or Impossible Burger.
Gotta be Beyond.
Gotta be Beyond. Any reason why?
Taste. Testings.
Without trying to get too serious about moral baselines,
Yep.
Can you accurately describe the difference between a level 1 vegan and a level million vegan? Where would you be on that spectrum?
I don't think a level million vegan exists. Probably, I think, there's been vegan, which is living a vegan lifestyle. There's been a vegan activist. It doesn't make you any more vegan. You're still the same amount of vegan. You're just actually advocating on behalf of the animals. So I think in terms of what's morally superior, being a vegan activist, because you're pushing change. So level million vegan, I guess, is someone that starts advocating. And you can advocate in many ways. It's not about, doing one thing over another. It's about doing something that you can do and what you enjoy doing. So level million vegan is enjoying vegan activism.
Quick question or request I'm going to put you on the spot with.
Yeah.
Say a word in Spanish.
Gracias.
Gracias. And do you speak any other languages?
9.
Say good day, mate, in an Australian accent.
Oh boy, good day, mate. Some shrimp on the barbie.
Favourite animal?
Not shrimp, obviously, vegan shrimp. Vegan shrimp on the barbie.
It's really funny because when people ask me to do Welsh, the only thing I can say is, oh, that's a lovely leather jacket. That happens to be leather, right?
Yeah, okay.
Favourite animal?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I love squirrels. Red, grey, black, I don't mind, but they're cute.
Why do people call you the goat?
Do they? Do they call me the goat?
I'm going to put some words on the screen right now to let you guys know, as the viewers, what that means. And it's not that you look like a goat.
Well, that's a relief for sure. Hope you don't sound like one either.
Without being too serious and talking about the moral baseline, what is... Oh, I've asked that one. Okay, given what happened with infamous activist Gary Yourofsky, what does he do... what do you do to avoid burnout, and how do you feel about Gary Yourofsky and generally like burnout from activism?
Wow, so burnout's a real thing, and I think something we don't often talk about, myself included. I think for a long time I felt that burnout was an excuse, perhaps, and that if I talked about it, it'd be encouraging people to like say, oh, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. So I kind of felt that wasn't right. Now I kind of shifted my views a little bit, and I think from personal experience I realized that these things are real and they can actually take a toll on you. So I think for me, just do something you enjoy. So I like watching movies, I like listening to music, I like hanging out with friends, I like having a drink, just something that you enjoy doing, something. And I think it's important that the thing you're doing takes you out of this environment. So I like, for reading, when I read, I've always just picked up vegan stuff or read stuff that's related to this, and now it's like, I'm going to read a piece of fiction and get into a different world. So watch a film, but it doesn't have to be cowspiracy, Just watch a fiction film that you like. It could be a guilty pleasure, whatever. Just watch something you enjoy. Just take yourself out of this world, and I think that it gives you that mental space. So just something you like, something that you find pleasure in doing, and something that takes you out of that mental headspace.
Have you ever worn socks and flip-flops?
No, I certainly have not, no.
Have you ever double-dipped hummus at a party?
Oh, probably.
What do you feel most guilty about?
What I feel most guilty about? Well, what I did to the animals. And I think the fact that it took me so long to come to terms with something I already knew. So I knew that animals suffered, I knew that I caused it, but it took something in my face to make me realize that. And I think my guilt isn't because I did it unconsciously. My guilt is that I think we do all have something in us that knows it's wrong, but we deny that. And my guilt comes from suppressing what I knew to be wrong.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
How many hours of sleep do you need a night?
More than I get.
More, because the next question is going to be how many do you get?
It varies. I like to aim for a solid 8. I think that's good, but it's normally probably around 6, 7. So it's not bad.
Is love at first sight possible?
Not at first sight, but I think at first conversation. So I think you see someone, you're like, damn, like beautiful, and this is obviously how I fell in love. Damn, let's talk to this beautiful woman. You have a conversation. You're like, okay, right, now this is love.
What's your ideal outside temperature?
Probably about 26.
What are you doing in London, mate?
I love London. It's about 26 today, though, right?
In the summer, yeah. Do you like giving presents or getting presents? Which one more?
Probably giving, but that sounds like I'm virtue signaling, doesn't it? Probably giving.
Are you confident about vegan future?
Yes. Yeah, today.
And what's that based on?
Probably a certain aspect of delusion, maybe, like just the no, I am confident. Hope, aspiration. It flip-flops. Some days I'm like, absolutely. Some days I'm like, we've got a lot of work to do. Today I'm feeling good, so maybe it's because I'm with you guys, but I'm feeling confident. So I think it's just, the stuff like the dairy, plant-based milk that you shared yesterday, stuff that I can see is tangibly changing, and that brings me hope. And so I'm optimistic, and today I'm feeling very confident.
What is like the biggest thing that you think is changing? The dairy industry and awareness around that, or like the vegan lifestyle in terms of like debunking the myth about like you can't be strong, like so the sports stuff, the ethical, like cage-free stuff, debunking that way? Yeah. Like what's the biggest source of progress?
Health and environment, regrettably. I mean, environment, not regrettably. I think the animal side of stuff will always be last because I think it's the least persuasive argument for someone in their personal life. So I think health and environment definitely driven it. The dairy industry is crumbling, and that is wonderful. So.
Soap or shower gel?
Shower gel.
Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
I think ask permission, but actually no.
Depends on the situation.
Depends on the situation, because like when I do those interviews, I don't like, if someone gets angry at me, it's ask for forgiveness. Like I don't ask, can I ask you this question? I'm like, I'm sorry if that offended you. So probably a bit of both.
What do you prefer, climbing a mountain or jumping from a plane? Have you ever done either?
I mean, I've climbed mountains. Ben Nevis, that's a mountain, right? So I've climbed Old Ben, but I've never jumped from a plane. I'd like to, but there again, you know, those planes aren't very environmentally friendly, are they? So I should probably walk a mountain.
How do you respond to those criticisms about we get what you're saying about the environment?
Yeah.
Maybe this might be from somebody at Extinction Rebellion who campaigns for the environment but eats a little bit of meat.
Yeah.
And they say, well, I get what you're saying, but also don't you use air transport? How do you reconcile that?
So, I mean, first and foremost, I think we should reduce air transport as much as we can. So I think that's a valid thing to say. But I also think that what happens is people ask for perfection, and we can never be perfect. It's an impossible task. And so it's about striving to do what we can and striving to do better. So if you can afford to get the Eurostar to Paris rather than fly, then get the Eurostar. But at the same time, if you have to do something, then, there can be, as long as you can justify it in a way that makes sense and actually helps the problem or the issue that we're trying to solve, I think it can be justified. So I think we can't be perfect, and we just have to strive to do better, and we can all eat plant-based easily, but some of us do have to fly for certain things. So it's about doing what we can with the lives that we have.
Great answer. And if you could be any kind of animal, what would it be, or what would they be, and why?
Well, I said earlier that my favourite animal is a squirrel. I think that maybe I retract that. My favourite animal probably isn't a squirrel, but I think I'd want to be a squirrel. And I think the reason for that is because they live so much freedom. There's a squirrel that comes in my, where I live, and I feed them nuts and stuff. And I'm like, damn, that squirrel's got it easy. All they do is eat walnuts all day. And I thought, maybe I'd like to be that squirrel.
You don't want to be a bird and fly?
Damn, you've really upped the game. Yeah, birds flying would be good. But birds, I don't know. I think a squirrel. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, so you've got some sort of affinity to squirrels.
Maybe it's just because I'm scared of the one that's near me and I don't want to offend them. Because sometimes he sits up and he's like, if I don't give him a nut, he'll tap on the window. So he knows he gets his nuts.
Who's the most famous person you've met?
Who's the first one? I mean, I've met Alec Baldwin. He's quite famous.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Maybe Alec Baldwin. I don't know. Tony Hawk, skater, but he's not famous anymore, is he?
Some people would say he is.
Okay.
But yeah. Name 3 people that are your heroes.
That's a good question as well. Heroes. But I think there's people that I really look up to. So Christoph also made Dominion. It's not just him, but the whole team in Dominion, what they did, Lizzie and everyone else involved in that, what they did, I think was really amazing. So I really respect them. So I guess they'd be heroes. Outside of veganism, oh man, I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, when I was younger, I had a Mohican because of David Beckham. So does that count?
Why not? Yeah. My hero growing up was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, okay, mine too,
really
actually.
cool to see that he's in the Game Changers.
Yeah.
It's I never thought I'd get anywhere near him. Not that I'm saying I will now, but there's some kind of tangible link from what I'm doing to what he's involved in now.
There's a compilation on YouTube that is all the Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes, all this stuff from his movies. So I used to watch that all the time. I love Arnold. Anyone who knows me knows that I love Arnold. So I guess he's a hero.
Terminator 1 or 2.
Oh damn, 2.
T2.
But T2, yeah, Judgment Day.
Where can people expect to see you over summer?
Vegan Camp Out.
In the UK?
Oh, in the UK. Yeah, UK Vegan Camp Out, the official Animal Rights March on the 17th of August. That's probably it in terms of events that I'll be at. But I'll be around in London. So.
Who can you impersonate?
Who can I impersonate? I'm not really good at impersonations. So I'm not sure. Who can I impersonate? That's a great question.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
First thing you do
if
you became Prime Minister?
Well, I guess make farming illegal, animal farming illegal. But I don't know, is that realistic? Are we being realistic or idealistic?
A little bit of both, because I don't think it's realistic to assume that you're going to could ever be Prime Minister unless you really put your mind to it. I don't think.
No.
I think if you did, then maybe, but I don't know if you think that's the best use of your time.
No, I mean, I guess, okay, so idealistically I would say, hey everyone, animal farming is no longer a thing, be vegan. But I guess, that's idealistically, of course. Realistically it would be more I don't know. That's
meat tax.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Do you draw a line about buying vegan ranges made by non-vegan companies?
No, the Marks and Spencer's vegan range is one of the best plant-based ranges that exists, and I love it. So I think we should all buy the Marks and Spencer's range.
What did you have for breakfast?
I had celery juice. I'm trying it out. I know it's a bit faddy, but I'm doing it and I feel quite good. So celery juice and then a smoothie.
What's your favourite dish at your restaurant, which I've already asked? It was
Tofu
the tofu.
and chips.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Last couple of questions. How do you deal with online hate?
There's a saying that says, if the person that's saying something to you has nothing that you admire, then why would you respect their criticism? I might have just made that up, but it sounds good. So it's fine.
Go on.
No,
I was going to say last question.
I think criticism is important. I think it's healthy, and I think it's fundamental. And I think it's really good that people can look at you and criticize you. And if someone's criticism is something you feel that you should take on board, then I think that's really is constructive. And if it's something that you don't think is something you should listen to, then let it go.
Last question is: you're obviously, I think it's fair to say, overtly going up against huge industries.
Right.
Do you ever feel like your safety is ever sort of in question?
No, not really. I've never worried about
any
it.
kind of creepy stories of being in London or being away and being targeted by anybody. I guess it's more in the online demi-monde that happens.
It is, and I think what we've got to understand is like online is real, but it's not real either. Like when you step out into the real world, people are not like they are online. So yeah, I get death threats. Yeah, I get people saying they're going to do stuff, whatever. But at the same time, I don't actually step out any day and feel worried for my safety. So no, I'm fine. I'm vegan anyway.
Last question. Awkward goodbye to the camera or epic fist bump?
Definitely awkward goodbye. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that very much.